Hey, welcome to Broadway Radical, where we're going to talk about 2016. Duh. We're going to talk about 2016, and I'm currently recording this in 2017, and I think that's as good a place as any to talk about the previous year because it can't hear us. I mean, you can't shit talk 2016 while you're in 2016. That's why bad things kept happening, because it was just like, yeah, you think I'm bad now? Try me, bitch. So, we're not gonna really talk about 2016 as a whole because that would just be a downer episode. A lot of bad things happened, and Carrie Fisher and Debbie Reynolds just died, which just 100% did not need to happen. So let's not talk about that. Let's just talk about the rest of 2016, because I think if we're all being honest, the worst part of 2016 happened in the last quarter of it. Prince died in like the summer, so that was bad, but let's be honest. Well, what we don't like about 2016 happened towards the end. The rest of the year had Hamilton, which is a great segue into the rest of this little episode. So, what was 2016 in musical theater? Well, it's the whole reason this channel has any viewers. Uh, it is Alexander Hamilton himself, and by that I mean Lin-Manuel Miranda, the God among men. And shit, dude, that was I mean, so much happened in theater this year. I mean, it's as much as any year in theater, but it all really got overlooked because of that. And I mean, good and bad. I mean, that's gonna happen. I'm not saying that's like the worst thing because we got Hamilton out of it, but I'd like to just talk a moment about some things that were overlooked. One huge thing that was overlooked, especially by the Tonys, cough, cough. I don't know, I'm coughing, like they're gonna hear me. The Tonys can fight me. The Tonys can put up their dukes collectively. And I don't mean like the voting committee, I mean like the actual little statuettes themselves. But no, Spring Awakening, the Deaf West production, just because we came in on that. We were writing in the early part of the year with this incredible production. And if you're not aware of the Deaf West production, basically they had deaf actors playing the roles and doing the lines in sign language, and then they had they called them like their voice. So you'd have like the voice of Melchior and then the actor of Melchior, and it was real cool. They had disabled actors, which is something that I don't know if it's ever been on Broadway. Um, Obviously, it's been in theater, but a lot of cool. I don't know if inventive is the right word, and I would say inclusive, but that also feels like patronizing, you know. But that's sort of it, and I think if there, it may be a little ironic because another inclusive thing. I don't have a better word for it rattling around in my brain right now. This more inclusive thing. I mean, not necessarily more, different, different in a way that is certainly more apparent uh, to the American situation right now. Am I just like, I'm just using words however I want. They're just kind of vomiting out of my mouth. And then I hope that I can rearrange them into a sentence after the fact. Um, but yeah, Spring Awakening, I think that was really cool. And maybe Broadway was just not quite ready for that. Or maybe it was and it just got overshadowed. But there's also like, I think, I don't know if it's sort of a pity thing. If I don't know if people feel bad about watching deaf act, like you shouldn't pity them. Like they're fine. They just have different, like, you know, abilities, and their lives are different. It doesn't mean that they're any less. Captain Obvious reporting here, giving you some top quality coverage on the Tony Awards. But and we had musical revivals. I'm saying this because I'm looking at the 70th Tony Awards Wikipedia page, which of course I am, because that's how I roll. But musical revivals, Dames at Sea apparently had a revival this year, and I remember hearing about that like way long ago. And I was in Dames at Sea in high school, and it's a fun show. And as someone who's familiar with it, let me be just the first one to say that there is no goddamn reason that it needs to be revived anywhere. It has no reason to exist again. It's a parody of early sort of Irving Berlin type shows, uh, sort of like it's almost a parody of Anything Goes, which ironically we did that same year at my high school, which I was also. And now I'm just talking about my high school experience, but yeah, and it's like, but all the jokes are very rooted in this very campy parody of old musicals, and it's it's fun, but it's just not necessary. I would recommend, like, if you're curious, definitely go listen to it, uh, and then but then you'll know it's like, okay, this is what this is, and there's nothing else though. And then you had the Fiddler on the Roof being revived. I heard nothing about that, but cool. Jewish stories on Broadway, uh Jewish stories in the public eye is good with everything. She Loves Me. I did hear about that. I still haven't listened to that, and will I probably at some point? Yes, but those kind of things aren't my jam. Did I just like totally blow my cover? Yeah, I'm sort of a modern musical guy. My sensibilities lie in this century. Not that there's anything wrong with it. Um, it's just I find musicals from that period to be very simplistic. Um, Not that ones from today aren't. And that's a really broad blanket statement. I love a bunch of musicals from then, and I'm almost gonna take back what I just said about them being simplistic. Just um, the tone of them, I think, is something that is not quite what I'm looking for. But anyway, at any rate, and then The Color Purple, obviously, which won Best Revival, which is cool. And I saw, yeah, okay, Cynthia Erivo, I don't know, was real good. Um, and then original musicals, we have, oh my God, okay, Allegiance. I have not seen it because I don't know if it's even available legally. I know they have that live cast thing that either will happen or has happened that I have not seen, or, well, I mean, not that I won't see it, but I would see. I will see when I have available time. But um, Allegiance is a real good idea. Talking about the Japanese internment camps that existed in this country during the Second World War. That's like an extremely important thing that I feel like nobody knows about. Either we don't know about it or we're not talking about it or both, because wow. um I'm actually like I'm so glad that George Takei, that was his passion project, and I'm really glad that that exists, and because it's super relevant when you're talking about rounding up a specific group of people based on their nationality and putting, identifying them and putting them into camps. Like, Jesus Christ, that happened in this country while we're talking about, like, how fucking righteous we are, going overseas fighting the people who are doing the same thing. It just blows my fucking mind. And I think there absolutely needs to be a musical about it. And I am all for musicals shoving the rich old white people's faces, like the rich old white people who get to go see musicals on Broadway. I'm all for shoving reality in their faces. So that's a good thing. From what I hear, it's actually not very good. I wouldn't know. I haven't listened to it yet. Should I have listened to it maybe, or like half of these things that I'm talking about before I did this podcast? Yes, but I'm not really here to talk about the quality of them. I'm just here to talk about their cultural relevancy. Um, and you can go to Seth Rudetsky to hear about how good or bad a thing is. I mean, and I'm not gonna tell you if a thing is good or bad. That's taste. You know, it's all subjective. All I can say for sure, is if I like it and what it has done or what it tried to accomplish, and what Allegiance tried to accomplish was is real good. Amazing Grace, no fucking clue what that is. I have listened to American Psycho, and from the person who uh, made Spring Awakening, I'm like, what the fuck? I hate American Psycho. I hate the movie. I've seen it several times. I like what it's about, or what it's trying to do. Like, look at how morally bankrupt these Wall Street fat cats are, whatever. Like, they could be serial killers. Yeah, okay, cool. It's just the way that it does it. The movie and the musical is, it just ends up becoming the thing it hates the most. It's so stylized, and I just hate the whole it's like, oh, it's so fake thing, like, but that makes for a good show. And it's like, how hypocritical is that to like know that what you're talking about, like you're talking about how fake these people are, but you're not, like, why can't you just fucking talk about something real, like, instead of sort of just reveling in it, and making a music. There does not need to be a musical about American Psycho. There didn't need to be a movie about American Psycho. American Psycho did not need to be a book. I'm sorry, but like, it just, it doesn't help. We've already got, and if you want to, because the ultimate message is something like, this capitalist lifestyle is empty and vapid and bad, and sort of breeds serial killers. um, if not literally, then you know, uh, metaphorically, I guess. But and that's great, but in execution, no. And I don't think American Psycho improved on that at all. Bright Star, just moving along. Steve Martin's funny. I don't care for country musicals. Sorry, that's all I'm gonna say about that. Disaster, I've literally never heard of. Wait, Seth Rudetsky? Okay, he earthquakes, tornadoes, infernos, and the unforgettable songs of the '70s take. Okay, so it's a jukebox musical, and like Steven Sondheim, I hate that, even if it is by Seth Rudetsky, and I'm actually like a little disappointed that he would waste his time on something that, we just don't need. Talking about things that we don't need, School of Rock. Fuck Andrew Lloyd Webber. Let me just go on record and say fuck that man for literally every reason, and this being one of them. That's all I'm gonna say. Speaking of things that we don't need, this show or him. I don't want to be too just talking about like value, whether you like certain things or not, but fuck that fucking Tory prick. Anyway, On Your Feet, Gloria Estefan. Cool. I don't have anything to say about that. Like, it was so insignificant. I think it was just another tourist bait. Um, Another empty sort of jukebox musical. Even though she was involved, I believe. It's just whatever. On Your Feet, like literally no one will remember it. Um, and that's it. And then we had, I'm getting to Waitress. Then we had Tuck Everlasting, and I'm sure that will be. I'm sure that'll circulate in some children's theaters again. Not really my thing, and so I'm not going to talk about it that much because I really don't want to. And then Waitress. Waitress, I don't. I listened to it and like, first of all, I don't know if anybody's talked about this, but like, it really reminded me of Dogfight, the score, just sort of the harmonies, in a lot of places, and also, but it was also very clear that it was written by Sarah Bareilles. If that's how you pronounce her name. I don't even know how to pronounce her name. I'm fucking clueless. But Waitress was good. I don't know how I feel about it being like, is it it's not a jukebox musical, but it is written by someone who is already an established musician. So but to call myself out that by that, if we're gonna do that, then or not Evita, Aida was written by Elton John, kind of. Um, so are we gonna say that that's a jukebox musical? Well, obviously not, but I don't know. Sarah Bareilles, you can keep making musicals because it was, man, looking, especially damn, like looking at the original musicals list, like that's on here. So much of it just does not. There's a real contrast between what is like real good as far as like it needs to exist and what really doesn't. And to be fair, I think uh, most of the time the musicals that are um, on Broadway, particularly the ones that are paraded around for the tourist, and the sort of, I want to say, like businessy musicals that are there to sell tickets and not really to advance the art form in any way or to try to accomplish some social change. I think that's those type of things are par for the course, considering that most Tonys. Um, Shot number two fired at the Tonys. Tonys hashtag fight me. Um, so I would say Waitress was a I like the and it was based on a movie, but whatever. But like it's a human story. Um, and it was something about it was a perfect talking about American Psycho. I guess, like it was a perfect um parallel to that because it was real and it was American Psycho was like all of these people are terrible. Like, yeah, well, who wants to see a musical about that? Like, unless it's a thing. I don't know. That made no sense. But I liked Waitress. Moving on. I guess all that we have left is probably the reason that any of you are watching this episode, and really to take a step back and look at my own channel. Um, I started this channel this year because there were a lot of channels on YouTube talking about books and TV and movies and other media. Well, I say other media, mostly like movies and TV and shit. But like with the analysis that I wanted to talk about musicals with. That was a sentence. And it didn't exist. And so I was like, all right, let's make this a thing. And the only reason, I swear, the only reason that anyone watches it is because of the Hamilton video. Everything fucking wrong with Hamilton. And to tell you the truth, I kind of hate it. I kind of hate that video now. Because it wasn't, I'm not going to say it wasn't completely thought out, but it wasn't completely thought out. Like, I kind of just, I thought, all right, here's going to be a fun video, whatever. And, the point of, the overall point of it was that, hey, these people are still, like, slave owners and still, like, led to the genocide of the Native American population. But little did I fucking know that a million goddamn people were going to descend upon me with torches and pitchforks, fucking picking apart every second of that video. Like, and like, just random shit that I said. Like, and I start off the video with saying, uh, Daveed Diggs is not my boyfriend. Like, when you start a video, how are you gonna go into the comments and write like, I literally people are like, I hate you, I hate you, I hope you die, like, the fuck? What do you what do you actually like? What are you thinking? Anyway, venting. But that is the only reason that anybody watches this channel. Um, or at least began to watch it, and so I'm thanks Lynn for that. But so let's actually talk about Hamilton. Um, in a time, in a world where race relations are super fucked up, and it's not like they just got that way. They've been that way for approximately, I don't know how many years has the U.S. been a thing. Um, it's been real bad for a long time, and in the age of social media, when oppressed people actually have voices, um, that everyone can see, when it's all coming to light, this was certainly, you know, a case of right place, right time. Um, and it's great, awesome. Glad Hamilton exists. Um, I don't know if it made people less racist. Um, I think that was probably Lynn's intent. I don't. I don't. I don't know if it's a thing that you can necessarily accomplish in 1 2 hour show, but by God, he tried. I've done so many fucking Hamilton videos. At this point, I'm just like, uh, it's been obviously a super. You've got non theater people talking about a musical, and that's amazing. Um, and I think long ways around that's going to be a net positive, because more people interested in theater means more people interested in theater. Awesome. And maybe, just maybe, we'll get we can get some more brave Tony winners, brave Tony contenders, even, and not to throw shade at any. Okay, yeah, to throw shade at these jukebox musicals, and things that just don't need to exist. School of Rock, um, and Andrew Lloyd Webber in general. You know, I hope that it will it it will open the door for, it's going to inspire a generation of people, to open doors that have not been opened, and this art form certainly needs some opening up, because I mean, it's not the first hip hop musical, but it is the first hip hop musical that mattered. Um, Not that any of them weren't good, but like, it's the only one that's made people listen. Is it? What do I think of the fact that the only reason people seem to care about it is because it's about you know old dead white people who founded this country? That's another discussion. But Hamilton was obviously a net positive, and Lynn being super famous is a net positive. So fucking good for that. What, we're at like 30 minutes now. So yeah. Um Looking into 2017 and the next 4 years, I think we have the potential to see some really, what I want to see is some really raw material. I want to see some real shit, and I want to see some stuff that you've never seen on Broadway before. You know, I want to see some things that, God, you know what I'm talking about. Um, with what's happened, um, that's gonna also inspire some art. I'm thinking like the punk bands um, that started around in the 80s, during the Reagan era, which we seem to maybe be going back into a little period of national regression. Um, I think we might get some really good shit while we're dealing with some really bad shit. And that's all I want. And when I say that's all I want, that's obviously not all I want. But that's all I'm going to say about that. So that's it. Thanks for listening. And I'll see you next time.